After collecting the Dragon Sphere, Goku and the others had to make a wish in order to complete their journey. However, it seemed that at that moment, most of them did not want to ask the spheres for anything, because being together, they felt that they did not need anything else. In Bulma's case, she had sought the spheres to ask for a boyfriend, but now with Yamcha's presence in the team, she didn't feel the need to ask for someone else, since she was very interested in him. Yamcha also didn't need to resort to the spheres, since in a way, Bulma helped him overcome his fear of women. Because of that, Goku would be the one to make the wish, since they had to do it so that the spheres would not be stolen again and used for something bad. Goku would leave the spheres on the floor of the Great Desert where they were, and then he would speak to activate the spheres. "Come out, Shenlong, and grant me a wish!" With those simple words, the sky suddenly began to darken, and the spheres emitted a great flash, summoning the great dragon known as Shenlong. Its presence was imposing to all present, as they did not expect the dragon to emerge from the spheres. Goku was the only one who was unaffected by the dragon's presence, as he knew it very well from all the times he had seen it in the past.
How come you're not even a little bit scared of that creature?
Let's just say I'm used to seeing things like this.
What do you mean by that?
It's complicated to explain. You guys just trust me. While they had their brief chat, the dragon would address them to find out what they were looking for from him.
Now tell me, what is your wish?
At Shenlong's question, Goku would think a bit about what he might wish for, as he could not ask for something beyond the dragon's limitations, especially at that time where he had not been upgraded by Dendi. For that very reason, he would ask for something that would surely not be a problem for Shenlong, and would also be beneficial for the future.
Shenlong, I wish that the companions I have and the ones I will have may grow up safely to develop their true potential.
When the others heard that wish, they felt surprised, as they did not think that Goku would ask for something like that, not to mention that they did not understand the meaning of that wish. On the other hand, Goku's wish would be heard by the dragon, who would only stare at him in order to process the wish he had made.
Okay, I can fulfill that to a certain extent, but you must be aware that I can't guarantee that they will be safe from danger. That will depend more on them than on me. Even so, you want me to do it?
Of course I will, since after all, this would be meaningless if everything was solved so easily. The risk is inevitable.
All right, boy. I'll fulfill your wish, just as you asked.
After saying that, the dragon's eyes would glow, a clear indication that he had fulfilled Goku's wish.
Very well. Now your wish is fulfilled, so it's time for me to leave.
After saying that, Shenlong would disappear as the sky returned to normal, and the spheres went back to scattering around the world again. After that, the others would gather to decide what they would do next, for now that the spheres had scattered, it no longer made sense to stay in that desert. Goku already knew what he would do, since he had planned to go to Master Roshi to improve his skills, especially to master the Ultra Instinct, since there was no one better at that point in history to teach him the concept of that technique. On the other hand, Bulma had thought of returning to the city together with Yamcha, since now that she had been able to meet him, she wanted to be by his side. However, this time Yamcha would think twice, since he had not forgotten that fight he had with Goku, where he discovered that there were levels of power that were beyond his imagination. For that very reason, he would make the decision to go with Goku to train as well, as he knew he had to prepare himself for whatever was to come in the future.
Bulma, I'd like to go with you back to the city, but I hope you understand that I can't stand idly by while there are still unknown dangers out there. If I'm not strong enough to defend myself, how could I protect you or the others? I guess you're right, but it's still a pity you can't come with us to the city. Still, I promise I'll come back after my training. In that case, I'll wait patiently for your return.
After having that last talk, everyone would go on their respective ways in order to train to become stronger. Goku would take Yamcha in the flying cloud, with which they would easily reach Master Roshi. As soon as they reached the place, the two would meet him and ask him to train them. However, Goku would ask Master Roshi for something special for his training, which was to teach him how to let his body move without thinking. At first, Master Roshi would be surprised by his request, as he did not expect someone as young as Goku to know such complex movements. However, he would end up accepting that, because he noticed Goku's great determination to master such a thing. In that way, both Goku and Yamcha would be taken on as his disciples, just as Master Roshi had originally done. However, in exchange for that, they would have to complete Master Roshi's request, which was to bring a girl to the island. But shortly after that, another of Goku's acquaintances was approaching Master Roshi's island as well, being a great companion of Goku. That person was none other than Krillin, who had taken it upon himself to cross the sea in order to become a disciple of Master Roshi. At first, Goku would be excited to see the friend with whom he had shared many adventures, as he was very fond of him. Although on the other hand, Krillin would not understand why Goku looked at him that way, since he barely knew him. They would have some differences, but in the end, they would manage to get along so they could train with Master Roshi. During this point in the story, they would meet Lunch, who would also join them on their journey. The training of Goku and the others would be more effective under the influence of Master Roshi, but above all because of the presence of Goku, who, being more powerful than the others, was very useful for the others to become stronger in combat. But most importantly, the Master helped to reinforce Goku's knowledge of how to train his spirit and also his mind. These teachings had been the last thing his master had shown him during the Tournament of Power, so now that he had the time to train them properly, he would be able to progress with the handling of the Ultra Instinct. The training would be just as heavy for Krillin and Yamcha, who were also doing various jobs to make up for what they lacked. Not to mention facing Goku on several occasions to exponentially improve their fighting skills. In fact, during their arduous training, Krillin would also witness the great strength of Goku, who had demonstrated that he could transform and increase his strength even more. This training process would actually become more and more effective as the weeks went by, and it seemed that everyone was advancing rapidly. Even Master Roshi himself was getting stronger, since by practicing the concept of the Ultra Instinct technique with Goku on a constant basis, he was improving his understanding of that fighting style, and thus his body was also getting stronger. Although he was clearly far from mastering that technique, at least he was progressing along with the rest. Everything would progress normally until the first martial arts tournament, where everyone would participate to test their skills. Although clearly at this point they were stronger than in the original story, since the constant confrontations with Goku and the knowledge of Master Roshi had served them well. For this reason, the fights of the first tournament would be quite easy for them, and they would have no problem defeating each of the opponents. It should be noted that Master Roshi had also decided to participate in order to make sure that his disciples had learned well. Although, so that they would not have any kind of consideration towards him, he would disguise himself and participate under the name of Jackie Chun. Only that way would his students take him as someone different and they could fight against him with everything they had. Things would get interesting when they faced each other, as they would test what they had learned during their training together and show who was the best. Yamcha would be the one to face Master Roshi during the tournament, just like in the original story. This time, Yamcha would prove to be more powerful and with a great combat ability, because by training with someone as strong as Goku and someone as wise as Master Roshi, his skills had improved much more than expected. Their battle would be quite spectacular, as his great reaction to attacks and use of attacks was quite striking. However, even with that in mind, the result would be the same, since Master Roshi, having a better knowledge of the complex movements that Goku used, would have a great advantage over Yamcha's power. In the next fight, it would be Krillin who would face the Master, so he had to make an effort to keep up with him in the fight. Like Yamcha, he would demonstrate the progress of his training during his fight with Master Roshi, even using the Kamehameha to try to win. But despite his great effort and skill during the fight, he would also be defeated by Master Roshi, since his knowledge of combat was still a great advantage over his disciples, who still lacked the experience to learn to use their instinct instead of just power in a fight. After that, they would move on to the final showdown, dealing with Goku versus Master Roshi. Both were the most familiar with the concept of Ultra Instinct, as well as the complex moves that had to be performed. For this reason, Goku was eager to begin the fight, because now he would test what he had learned against his master.
At that moment, the two would be on the fighting arena, taking their respective positions in order to properly start the fight. At this point in the story, Goku already knew the identity of Master Roshi, but it was the ideal moment to find out who had better control of the concept of Ultra Instinct, and if Goku had really improved beyond the first time he had learned it from his master.